Hi, we continued our analysis of the macro indicators that determine this decision of entering into new market. We're looking at brief indicators that will help us decide. So we've done Bangladesh and India. Now we're moving to talk about Indonesia. So you could see for Indonesia GDP in US dollars billions. So it was 755 billions in 2010. Increased to 1,060 in 2020, so that's been increasing. So if you look at economic growth from 6% down to 5%, 4%, and then it's fluctuating, and then 4% in 2019 down to negative 2.07. That's recession. You're looking at inflation rate is being 4% in 2010, and then increased a little bit to 6%, and then decreased. So from 2015, from 6% to 2% in 2020. So that's good, bringing inflation rate down. Unemployment rate. That's the first country with recorded unemployment rate. So unemployment rate 7% in 7.14 in 2010, and then decreased down to 2019 5.18%, 5.18% in 2019, and then we see so it's been decreasing and then increased as a result of a pandemic to 7.7%. It's still low compared to other countries, but Bangladesh is lower than Indonesia. In terms of population, so population has been increasing. It's 2070 millions in 2020. In terms of general government gross debt, so it's been increasing from 2010 to 36.6 to 1% of GDP in 2020. So that's so it was 30.5% in 2019, increased to 36.6 to 1% of GDP in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. So that's good. So I mean, it's still low. It's been increased as a result of the pandemic, but it's still good. In relation to Malaysia, so we see economic growth in billions, 258.641 billions, increased to 337 billions in 2020. So that's increase. In relation to Malaysia, economic growth, so it's been 7% and then down to 4% in 2019, and then going down to negative 6.47, so negative 5.6%. That's negative figures of economic growth. That's recession. You're talking about inflation rate 1% 2010. It's been stable until and then decreasing until 2018, and then from 2018 till 2020. So we're talking about deflation, and that's not good for businesses. Unemployment rate, reported unemployment rate, which is good, and unemployment rate is really low, and it's fantastic. Increase in 2020 to 4.5% as a result of the pandemic. Population persons, so we see Malaysia is doing really good in relation to the population of let's say 28.5.6 in 2020, increased to 33 millions in 2020. So it was 28.5.6 in 2010, increased to 33 in 2020, and that's good. The country is performing really well, and they're talking about, so this will give us indicators about GDP per capita. So good for this country. In relation to general government gross debt, so you see it's 51% in 2010, increased to 57% of GDP in 2019, and then increased in 2020 to 67.4% of GDP in 2020. So that's a bit high, but it's still in a country like Malaysia, so it's something manageable. But in overall, if we're going to choose a country of these countries to do business in this country, we could see that Bangladesh is doing really good in relation to that. So first of all, in terms of these countries, for all of them, they went to negative GDP. India, Indonesia, so India, Indonesia, and Malaysia, so all of them, they went into negative GDP in 2020 as a result of pandemic, except Bangladesh. We're talking about still positive economic growth for Bangladesh. We see that inflation rate is stable for the country, around 4%. We see that general government gross debt is low, even with the pandemic, is still like something manageable for the country. For country as big as Bangladesh is still low as a percent of GDP. So you see that from all of them, based on the figures and data and stability of the economy, we say Bangladesh is the best option based on this scenario. And in this case, so that's the country of these. So this exercise, of course, we're not going to choose a country to expand into based on only these factors. So these are the basic indicators that we use to just look at the economy of the country. There are other factors at the strategic level and the financial level, so there are other factors as well in terms of the relation and the company's relations and the government regulations and the trade barriers and investment and all that, the further environmental laws as well, talking about also investment regulations and how is it easy, is it something that will affect the cost in terms of the trade barriers. So that's something that will be looked at thoroughly, but the basic level indicators showing that Bangladesh is doing really good in terms of these basic economic indicators. Thank you so much for listening, and hope this is beneficial for you.